What's up, guys? Beyond the Party, episode 6. Thank you guys for all the support so far, and we're just gonna keep going and keep growing. KP, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. We started off we were at the pool all weekend. We had Encore on Friday, Chris Divine Saturday daytime, and we had cheat codes on Saturday night. Saturday day popped off because it was raining out, so everybody was coming inside to swim and party. So it was pretty busy. And then Saturday night we had cheat codes, and you'd be surprised how many people like cheat codes.
Cheat codes, they're pretty big.
Yeah, they are, and I didn't really realize that until people were coming through the door. But
That sounds like
cool.
it was fun.
What'd you do this weekend? How was your day, Nikos? What's
My day
going
was
on?
great. I woke up, went to the gym, and then I got back. Me and Sam got ready. We drove halfway here. Realized I forgot my microphone,
Had to swing back.
so I had to turn around, grab my microphone at home, come back.
Thank you for
But
leaving here.
we all got here in time, and we're all good.
What'd you do this weekend?
This weekend I was at Kiss Kiss on Thursday, which you came to.
Yeah, we did.
That I got pretty packed. That was
It
fun.
got good. At the end, it got good.
Friday I was at Tradesman's, which also got like really packed. That was fun. The manager actually walked up to me and he was like, "This is like the best bar like right now."
Really?
Because they have 3 bars. He was like, "Yeah, this is the busiest right now."
I've never
And I was like,
been.
"Wow, that's awesome."
Yeah, that's cool.
And Saturday I did a graduation party for my good friend Tommy.
Oh, was
so-
it popped off? Was it good?
Yeah, it was
lit?
fun. It was fun. Nice
Okay.
South Philly Italian family. So
Oh,
we
nice.
stayed
Good party.
after, smoked cigars.
Yeah,
the whole
love
9.
that.
Yeah, it was fun. But this week we have Kurteousy on as our guest. Welcome, Kurteousy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna say you're welcome.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You
You're
are
welcome.
welcome.
I didn't mean it that way. I meant thank you. But it was just, trying to be nice.
Glad to have
How was your
you.
weekend?
I actually, believe it or not, I also did private events, which is fairly rare. But it was I did a wedding for a friend of mine. Friday, I actually ended up debuting at Winston on the Water, and
Oh, okay,
again,
yeah.
same exact thing. It was raining, kind of tough. But they ended up staying open all night, staying under the under the awning.
Mm-hmm.
They were very happy because they thought that they were going to cut me before things started, and they ended up staying open until like 1:30.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was.
That's outside or inside?
It is. It's actually directly next to Morgan's Pier. It's behind the Dave and Buster's.
Gotcha.
It's been vacant, I think, since like the early 2000s, and then the Winston purchased it, remodeled it, and I think it's been open for like 2 seasons now.
Nice.
So yeah, on Friday was my debut, and then I'm back here again on this. I'm sorry to ruin the surprise, but I'm back again on Friday, so I'm getting this kind of a second shot. Hopefully the weather's nice.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
awesome. I did it last year one time. It was pretty fun. It's a cool spot. The
It
whole
is.
vibe that they have set up. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
it's a really nice area.
It
yeah.
should be busy. It's Memorial Day weekend.
I would hope so. I think
about
that's
to
why
pop
they gave me
off.
a shot for it.
You better
again,
bring
so.
your best pants, best shirt, best suit.
So, all
You
right, I'll
better.
keep my shirt on.
I feel like whoever's like not at the shore, they're just gonna go to those places though, like Morgan's and all the outdoor bars.
I think, and again, we're probably skipping ahead here a little bit, but I think as time goes on, I've seen more people stick around in the city versus just go down the shore.
Yeah,
It's more, I wouldn't say it's more 50-50. It's just a lot less 90-10. I think just more or less it's gotten maybe like 70-30 or 60-40. I see a lot of people asking me now like where they're going to be in the city.
Hmm.
And I think just because, probably our routine every Memorial Day weekend, everyone goes down the shore.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and that's the case for me this year. So, yeah, I got lucky.
What are you doing this year?
So actually, I'm so glad that I'm able to actually announce it. I was waiting for them to post it because I wasn't allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
But Thursday's the industry party over at Barstool.
Mhm.
Friday I'm at Winston on the Water, and Saturday I'm DJing at the Deauville in Strathmere. We're doing a house party, and now it's been sponsored by Q102, so I'm very excited
That's
about
awesome.
that.
Have you been before?
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
it last year a couple of times. It went off very well. We had a couple of discrepancies in between it, but we worked
Mhm.
it out to be able to get back. So now that they have the radio station, it's probably I think 3:00 is when they're going to be posting it.
Dope.
But they told me that I could be able to talk about it now, so that's really great. They're doing a short before the tour, but they've been working with me really well. We've been kind of in talks to make this happen, and today's actually the first day I'm allowed to talk about
That's
it. So
awesome.
I'm glad I'm able
Nice.
to
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
really
announce
cool.
it on the podcast. There are a couple other things I'm not necessarily we're up in the air about for the next of the weekend, so I'm
Yeah.
going to kind of keep that
Gotcha.
to myself. But I can say I'm very excited about it if it does come out.
Yeah.
Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, I'll just text you, let you know what would have
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
So
I'll add it in.
yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, let's get into like your background a little bit. Where you from? How'd you kind of start DJing? And just
So
get
this,
into life?
if you've ever watched any of the podcasts, probably somewhat of a similar story. So I'm sorry for whoever's listening is like already heard this. Born and raised in South Philadelphia. Up until I was about 18 is when I decided that I wanted to start getting ready to start DJing. I didn't know what DJing was. Primarily, most of it was downloading music. iPods just became a thing. We were switching kind of from the CDs to more of the technology. A lot of it just got spent like filling up iPods, selling them at school. Most of it were just friends. Sometimes I would do ringtones. Those were really big, like when we had Nextels.
They were.
A lot of the time, I think most of my homework got derailed because it was becoming a little bit of a business, and most people weren't really like too crazy about paying or doing all that stuff. So that's when somebody had suggested DJing. I didn't really know what DJing was. I had seen DJs before, but didn't really realize the input or impact that it had. Like everybody else, went uptown, bought a little CD mixer, threw a party at my own house. I DJ'd my own 18th birthday. At that party, I got my first event. It was like $100. Not a great spot, but is where I kind of got my start.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah, did that for
your own birthday
I
party?
did DJ'd my own birthday party. Well, before all it was is like what the equivalent of people do with like Spotify, like when they just press play.
Yeah.
It was Apple iTunes at the time, which still exists. But I was like, oh, I could just press play. I could continue to play beer pong or do whatever. I don't have to pay attention to the music. And then that's kind of where the passion kind of came in because I already hoarded a ton of music. And if you know me well now, like I'm constantly downloading new music. I probably did 200 or 300 this morning.
Oh, wow.
So, and then I have to go through it and filter through what it is that I like and then be able to manipulate or use that, not to get derailed. But like I said, I did that. I got my first job over at the Spirit of Philadelphia, which I was already there today. It's my long and running residency. I've been there since 2011.
Nice.
Yeah, they provide us like 300 to 400 events a year, sometimes more, sometimes a little less.
That's so great.
Yeah, so that's great. And then just kind of going through all of that is where you begin to outreachers start to begin to go out of draw outside the lines, if you will.
Right.
So that was kind of where all of that began, and then we've met previously actually at the boat, which is funny.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And then just start doing different things. People start to ask about you, and then you start to grow from there.
Cool.
So,
What are kind of like the biggest like obstacles you faced? You think like when you first started, like trying to get into bars and like,
so when you're
clubs and stuff,
especially when you're young, you may or may not have dealt with this before. It's like a lot of people are, they just see you as a young guy. They know that they could be able to offer you an open spot. Things sometimes are free or less money. But you have to take chances. You have to do all of that. So you have to make friends. You have to genuinely be involved in this community as with everything that you have. You can't kind of dip in and out of it.
Yeah.
The people that I know that I'm friends with that come to, the different events or other things that I have, it's me visiting them, it's vice versa. And sometimes I don't always get the time to be able to do so. So you actually have to genuinely be close to a lot of the people that you work with to be able to better connect and network and do all of that. So if you're not doing that from the very beginning, you're going to probably be at a disadvantage. So to kind of answer your question or wrap up the question, I would highly recommend that you go and do all of that. Like that should be the first thing that you should really do is just genuinely spend 2 to 3 years getting to know everybody who works where, who are the bartenders, who are the general managers, where do you want to work, hang out there a lot, you know what I mean, and just really get to know it because one day they'd be like, hey, we don't have anybody for Wednesday. That guy called out. Here's your chance.
Yeah.
And there you have to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like that's the revolving theme that everybody always says. Just networking is the biggest thing.
It's almost as important as being a good DJ now, if not probably more. So,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It may. Some people say, unfortunately, you have to learn how to play the game. So that's kind of, you can't avoid it. You have to do it. Whether or not you're good at it is almost another subject in itself.
Yeah.
The more people you know is always a better advantage for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In any situation, probably. Yeah. Like
I think if from when you start to when you end, you don't know who is going to reappear back into your life. So like try and be nice to absolutely everybody, which is probably pretty universal. But I think a lot of people forget that, like, okay, this person's now out of this venue, I'm never going to see them again. People rotate.
Yeah,
people, you know what I mean, that I've seen 5-6 years ago at a different nightclub. Where like I remember when you were trying to get in here, and now you're DJing at the spot. So a lot of people will respect you for the consistency of doing all that. So again, try and be nice to everyone, even when it's probably the hard thing to do.
Right.
Just make sure that you kind of leave the door open. Don't burn a bridge, because like I said, there are a lot of times that you'll wish in the future that you wish you wouldn't have said or done or whatever it might be. So it's hard. It's easy to say like be the bigger person or do whatever it might be, but it's
a really
Yeah,
big
worth
thing
it.
to say.
Yeah,
it's a really big.
It's
thing.
worth it. It's worth it in kind of the end.
No,
Yeah.
it definitely is. What are kind of your favorite like genres of play? I know Philly's mostly open format, but do you have a specific genre of music? That
Yeah,
you
I'm
gear
big in the
towards?
house. I always
House,
have been.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's going to be probably the generic answer, and I guarantee you, somebody else has probably said like I love all music, which is kind of true because they all have their small little innuendos about why we like each different thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens that up tempo kind of house music is popping right now, which is great.
It is.
But I've, throughout the entirety of my career, once I heard house music, I was like, what is this? It didn't really necessarily know what it was, you know what I mean? And then, a couple of different songs start to come out and playing that. And then I feel like music kind of rotated more into hip hop.
Right.
But I don't think my love for house music ever changed. I think just more or less is you have to change your dynamic and, make sure that if you want to get played in here, you're going to have to play certain songs and play a certain way, and that's okay. I think now that house music is starting to come into thing, that I can be a little bit more of myself, which is great. And I think just more or less is that's kind of why things are working in my favor, because I'm just genuinely being myself, mixed also with what I love to play is being, just kind of highlighted, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that does make sense. Yeah.
Aside from DJing, do you listen to country music?
I'm not a big fan of country music.
Yeah, I feel like nobody is. It's always a question I want to ask.
It's funny. There are new subgenres coming out with country music. They call it EDM, which is
really?
like house.
Yeah.
I saw it on. I actually saw it on
my
TikTok.
brother listens to
I was
that.
cracking
That's
up,
funny.
but it's like like with the exception of like how popular like somebody like Morgan Wallen is now.
Yeah.
A lot of DJs and producers are now beginning to work them into their sets.
That's true.
And it kind of plays a little bit more of a sing along. So I think some of us call it like more country pop, where it's like it's typically you hear on the radio. So I think country music themselves are adjusting because they have that stigma. Like people don't like it feels like a lot of people are like one way or the other, right? Like they either hate it or they love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
So it's for me personally, I'm not going to play it. But if I get a request, if I know that the room like is dressed almost like, hey, listen, we like country music, I'm probably going to find a way to fit Sam Hunt or Morgan Wallen into my set.
Yeah.
But it won't be,
known
and it's probably the most typical song you probably could have heard.
Right.
But it's primarily just to appease people, to let them know, like, hey, listen, I heard what you want. I'm not going to just blatantly ignore it.
Yeah.
But like I said, there are some of them that go off really well. Like, what's the Big and Rich song where it's Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's not something.
Most...
Yeah. The most cliche one, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I was saying. So, I don't necessarily think it's my forte, but I know the top 8-10 songs probably.
That's all you
that'll
need.
get me. Yeah, that'll get me through.
It really
And I'm
fits
not
the
playing that
stigma.
all the time, if ever. So.
Right. People will just be happy just to hear one.
Honestly.
Yeah, that's really what it is, and
Yeah.
I think that's funny too. And I know it sounds funny, but Taylor Swift kind of gets into that. So
Yeah,
you can,
it does. Yeah.
You can kind of use her to dive in and out of stuff. So that's kind of usually if I'm going into it or out of it, she's kind of like my exit and highway to get kind of through it, because
Right.
the girls like tend to like and guys too.
People
Taylor
love
Swift.
Taylor
yeah.
Swift.
Yeah, they really do. And they
Like
just had that
diehard
concert.
fans.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was at Wicked Wolf on Saturday the 13th, and the concert just let out. I had to have like a whole set because everyone was dressed like it. I
Yeah.
had no intention of playing Taylor Swift. I probably paid like 8 or 9, like back to back to back.
Right.
You're
And,
like, what the
they
fuck should I
streamed
do?
it, right?
There were,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, like 4 or 5 people were like, "Thank you." Like I really appreciate it, and I think that
Wow.
in
You read the
itself,
room.
yeah, it just kind of stretches itself. It's not something that I really want, but if shout out to Scooter, he makes like a couple of really great ones, so it makes it easier than just playing the original. Gives it a little bit more of a background feel. It keeps it kind of up tempo. But again, at the same time, everybody that wasn't a Taylor Swift fan is like, dude, please,
What
like,
the fuck?
like,
Give it up.
Come on.
play country, like you know what I mean? Like this is a joke. So, but
That's
She
funny.
definitely goes in and out of the country and like pop though. Like
Yeah.
you can mix her in with a couple different things.
yeah, I think they call it adjacent, like meaning that like it can go kind of either way.
Mhm.
Where
Yeah.
you can, like I said, it's kind of like a relative to most country music anyway.
Mhm.
But she's also pop, like you said, so
Yeah.
you can kind of get away or get through with it and kind of get exit out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Her fans are insane. Like
it's a cult following, man.
I
Yes,
saw some
it really
videos.
is.
Mhm.
I saw some videos of like these girls at the concert, and like I don't know what song she was singing. She
Dressed
sang a
in
song.
their arrows.
Maybe they were just crying their eyes out, screaming it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh!
I know
like,
who you're talking about.
I think
really, yeah. Like,
I think
wow.
the industry's definitely realized like anybody with a cult following like that is going to have that type of demand. I mean, you know, not to use Beyonce as an example, but some of these people are like it's what they do, it's how they live. It's,
Yeah.
you know, Justin Bieber for another example. It's like the younger kids at one time they're getting a little bit older now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They had a cult following, and now it's
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So I can even say Morgan Wallen in just a sense. It's like I even bring up his name where I played last night, and the whole bar just freaks out.
I
And
know.
it's not like I said, it's not something. Usually I play like an up tempo edit of it,
Mhm.
but like even the one that they don't even recognize what's in the background, they just start going nuts, start singing it. So
Everybody
it's
loves him.
yeah, it's really
He just
it's
kind of
really
popped off. I don't even
Yeah.
know how that came about.
it's probably TikTok. I would assume it's
Yeah.
got to be something like that. You know,
I don't even think
same
he's that
thing though.
cute to
That's
be like
well,
raving about him.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not
well,
gonna. I'm not gonna
sorry.
comment on
I'm
that.
a girl.
So, yeah.
But no,
That's
even
cool.
with the Taylor Swift, like I remember when I was like, I don't even know, 12, 13, like my dad probably just bought me a CD. I was really rocking out to her. But now that I'm older, I feel like I don't follow her anymore. But I know girls my age or girls older than me that really are like
Yeah,
diehard
they're really
fans.
into it. Yeah, that's
They
no
never gave it
disrespect to
up.
the T Swift fans. We're
Yeah.
we're all friends here, but yeah, it's definitely
I'm not hating. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
no. You're 100%. It's okay to like and not like something like that because
Yeah.
I get the same way and like with the house music that I like, I can't play
Yeah.
it
Right.
almost anywhere, and that that was probably a transition into the other questions you were gonna probably ask me, but moving forward. So
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned like TikTok. That's social media is just huge with like nightlife now, like promoting events.
it's unavoidable.
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
crazy.
it's
You gotta
unavoidable.
have
Yeah.
a TikTok account. Like
Yeah.
I spend most of my time on TikTok.
Yeah,
I
and
feel
you've
like.
been doing. I want to talk about the your weekend recaps on like Instagram. I don't know if you do TikTok too, but I've
Yeah,
seen on
well, you know
Instagram.
what's funny? I spoke with somebody who is like an influencer and TikTok has like a couple 100,000 followers, and they were just saying like that they're not getting the same engagement that they once were.
Oh,
It's
wow.
probably with all of the government stuff that they were probably
Yeah.
dealing with. I don't know necessarily if that's true. Maybe that's just trying to make sense of a situation.
Mhm.
But the way that I got pushed was Instagram with the reels and the channels are now being like presented almost to the front
right.
because they want people to engage in the new things that they were doing. So with the reels, I was the first couple I did, I was getting like somewhere between 2,500 and 5,000 people. And while that feels really low, my buddy was like, just Google a picture of 5,000 people and you just spoke in front of
Yeah.
those people.
Yeah.
And then the seventh one I did, which was at Bill and Air Lounge, almost has 100,000 views.
Oh my gosh,
I have
wow. That's
no
awesome.
prior experience like doing any of this stuff. I just basically watched a bunch of YouTube videos and it's it's gaining exposure. It's your account begins to get to different areas or places and it's it's just like kind of one step at a time. It's not my idea is that I want to play music. Doing all of this other like promoting other places, this is beneficial in creating better relationships. It's
Right.
like networking without having to meet anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
definitely,
that's it's to highlight the places that not only that we play, but to give a more realistic approach about being like, hey, if you come to this is actually what you're going to see.
yeah. Mhm.
It's not a website. It's not like this that this is
Right, yeah.
just a Friday
A
one that
vlog,
I
yeah,
did.
it's
Yeah,
like-
the Friday one that I won, nobody was there, and I still told people like, hey, it's worth checking out this place if you know what I mean. You're trying to do something different.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for starting them.
Yeah, before you posted, I never heard of that place, but it looks like pretty dope.
Yeah,
inside.
and that's
yeah.
just word of mouth is kind of, and the places, I'll be honest with you, are really appreciative of it because they're
Right,
like
yeah, I bet they are,
they
yeah.
love like seeing like their place kind of highlighted. They see that like somebody and then collaborating on it, they're
Mhm.
more likely to book you again.
Mhm.
But not only that, like they look forward to having you because they know that you're almost gonna like pipe up their place a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
They're not
yeah,
you're
right.
not there to just kind of collect the check. You're there to
Mhm.
promote them as much as yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we've even seen like producers and smaller DJs, they just blow up on social media, and it leads them to like DJing festivals and
Yeah.
and like really
takes
changing
one, dude.
changing
That's
their
it.
lives. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
I'm thinking of
insane.
somebody in particular, but I don't think any of the industry knows. I think he had like one TikTok that blew up, 1 million followers or whatever, and like now it's like he moved away, did all this other stuff.
Yeah,
Whether or not that persists is up to how well he keeps up with that.
right.
Mhm.
But like I said, if you just it's almost like overnight for some people where it's like they went from being almost, I wouldn't call myself just average, but in between with everybody else, and then kind of standing out because they had one
Mhm.
famous TikTok or whatever it might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
insane that could like really just like
I think that's why everyone's doing it. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
the reason why, because everyone's trying to do what they really want to, but they're like, hey, what gets me exposure enough
Outside
to
the
be
box.
exactly
You're right.
to
Yeah,
really,
right.
and that's the reason why I started doing the vlogs, because I was like, well, I have to go to work anyway, might as well just
Yeah.
show people what the place looks like, and that's and half of it's not even really me DJing. So yeah,
A reel is cool though, because if you're talking about a certain place and say I want to go to that place, I'm gonna look it up on TikTok, or I'm gonna
exactly.
look it up on Instagram, and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna see who you are, and then I'm gonna go
Mhm.
to your page, I'm gonna follow you and see all the things you're doing.
Exactly.
So,
So
It all connects.
It is,
So-
yeah,
Yeah.
it is cool.
yeah, I've only done like 12 of them. Then people like it's the only thing people bring up to me, and I'm like, I also DJ. If you want to talk about that, you know what I mean? So been doing one for 12 years or 13 years, and the other one for like 2 weeks, and that's all people want to talk about.
Put that to the side. Just become a vlogger.
Yeah.
Full-time vlogger now.
That's
Yeah.
listen. If it gets the exposure and people know more about, but I won't fake like being someone that I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
I'm
that's the worst.
trying to help
Yeah.
people out while also like trying to ask for
Yeah,
you
some
know,
some
a little
people
help.
that like some people come to mind. I won't name them, but some people definitely do anything that like they could think of to try to become famous, and it's even like it's like
It's
That's
an
dude,
like
unfortunate
the world
part.
we live
Yeah.
in, though.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get famous on
Yeah.
social media.
But yeah, when it comes to the point like where you're not even being yourself and you're just like faking shit,
You can lose yourself in it, and it's
Yeah.
I've seen that 100 times over, and it's you know whether or not you're doing that. So
Right.
that's people can also feel that. So hopefully we see less of that, but I don't. It seems like we're probably
No,
going in the
yeah.
opposite direction. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But yeah, like I said, like producers are like just blowing up because they're posting all their edits and everything on
Yeah.
social media.
I'm
I
taking
saw,
classes to do that now.
That's what I was
so
gonna
that's
ask about. Yeah, yeah.
It's it is chemistry, man.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's so different. It's and to be fair, after doing this so long and then seeing a little bit of local success, after doing that and then having to learn something brand new can
Mhm.
be kind of like frustrating, because you're like, I know what sounds terrible, I know what sounds good, I know somewhere in between, and I can't do any of it. And it's you're paying someone to help learn, and you're also paying someone to help coach you, and it's something that you just have to, those growing pains of just
Grind
working
through it,
through. Yeah,
right.
because you just see other people, like you're like, man, I can't believe it's changed, but you just have to do it constantly.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, like forcing me to open up the computer, forcing me to learn. And it's just, I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's just the equivalent of me watching YouTube, doing one thing for an hour that someone could do in 12 seconds. So
Mhm.
that's just it's the grind. Hopefully as time goes on it gets a little bit better, but
yeah.
as of we sit here right now, man, it is. Yeah, we are. I am in the the beginning classes.
I'm in the
of
same boat,
everything. Yeah,
same boat,
it's
yeah.
worth it, man. If you get the time to, I think it's what. I think if you want to like get out of here, meaning like you want to get out of your market, that just making music in general
Yeah.
is the way
Helps a
that
ton.
yeah,
Right.
dude, it's the way that every big artist has ever really gotten big. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's making
you're right.
music. So
Yeah.
that would be my recommendation. And I'm doing the old man thing where it's like I should have started earlier. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it just is what it is now. So
Yeah, it's never too late to start something.
yeah,
never.
I'm already invested. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. I did want to talk about a little bit. I've been seeing you post a shit ton on social media about poor decisions.
Yeah.
If you want to explain a little to the listeners, like what that is.
Yeah, tell
first
me,
off,
I don't know.
I apologize for spamming everyone's account.
No,
So
no,
it's,
not in a bad
it's
way. Not
based-
in a bad way.
Yeah, it's based primarily on everyone's attendance, and I have always felt for years that throwing your own party, and I posted this somewhat similar, throwing your own party was like one of the coolest things that you could do. Obviously, people need to show up to it, but being around like different people, it's always hard to attract good talent too. So
Mhm.
it's like, here's the party I want to do. Then it has to be at a good venue, and then you have to have people show up. So you have to have a lot of good things go right. For me, I knew that I needed to create a little bit of a following, and I wouldn't really necessarily say my following is my following. My following is just like people I've met, my friends, people who have genuinely become my friends, who have seen me consistently enough to be like, you can hold this play. You know what I mean? You can create kind of something out of nothing. And that's not to say that I always can. I think just more or less is that I'd be lying too if I didn't have a lot of help along the way. Now, I had created a pretty decent relationship with Barstool Sampson Street. Love all their staff. Great, really. I mean, just everything that they always do, they try and look out for me in whatever way. Months ago, I would say about July of last year, I grew the balls enough to, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here, but I grew the balls enough to just ask me, like, hey, listen, we've been working together. I would really love to, if we have an off night or something that we could be able to utilize, putting something together, I'd really love to, create this idea. I don't want to go too dive into it because if it's not even a possibility, so be it. But if the time ever comes, like, just know that I wanted to make sure that I asked. All right, cool. Just kept DJing there, nothing crazy. As time went on, like we would, I was blessed enough to do like most of their Fridays and Saturday nights, Saturdays being like really crazy. I guess they've seen enough of me that they also, trusted me as time goes on. And I think I just went there like on a Thursday, and it was like me and the bartenders. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, why? Let's do that
Right.
thing that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And I just said it in front of the right person, and they were like, we'll go like draw it up. But if you know Barstool the way that I do now, everything's corporate. So one, yes, you need 9 more. And it's very difficult to get that through. I'm sure with some smaller bars, you probably have to really go through just like 1 or 2, or maybe just the GM or the owner or whatever. But to get it through them, they probably, I would assume that they looked at some type of numbers. I can't, speak for that. But they were like, hey, let's give this thing a shot. So we got our date. It wasn't perfect getting started up. And I just knew if we threw a good party, had good music, and that if we just kind of got an opportunity, it would grow. And I just knew that. So we did our first one back in March, and it was me and Martin. Martin and I were actually, Martin was just scheduled that day.
I came by to that.
Yeah, and Martin was just scheduled, and they were like, "Would you mind doing it with Martin?" And I was like, "Well, we spoke about what we wanted to do, but if Martin's scheduled, absolutely, Martin's a great DJ." So
100%.
he kind of kudos to him, because he had no idea what was going on. He was just like, "Am I just coming to DJ?" He was like, "What do I do?" So I was like, this is an event. I want to play music that I really love. And you can follow around with me, but feel free to like kind of travel off. So I was just playing a bunch of house music. You don't know how it's going to go, but I think, like, again, this goes back to a little bit of luck with how popular house music is. You know, given John Summit's recent success, Fisher, and you can name a million. You can name a million of them. This is music that again, we're going back in different artists. It wasn't these guys at this time. But this was music that I just genuinely loved. So I was like, just commit to it, force people to listen, because now, everybody's attention span is really short.
Yeah.
And a lot of these songs are 4, 5, 6 minutes long. So I was like, I think if I could just convince them to stick around long enough that I play like a little bit of Rihanna over something,
right.
They'll kind of stick around and be like, well, he's not, and drinks are half off today, or whatever it might be. So they're like, we're gonna give him a chance. And we just did the first one. We had 80 people come, we only had 1 week of promotion. I didn't do anything crazy. Like, I just like told people, like, please prioritize, if you like me as a person, prioritize, please, attending. I would really appreciate it. So we had the first one, and it didn't really catch all that flack. But the people that came were like, there's not a shot I'm missing this next time. So I was like, all right, that's cool. Awesome. That's all you really wanted. It ended at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was like 8 to 1. So the whole point was to open it up earlier, so that way we had an opportunity to get people in a little bit earlier. And then as time kind of went on, I asked Smooth if he would do the second one. I made sure that we had Aaron to take pictures and everything, and we doubled in size the second one. And then I got lucky enough, again, the same thing. Shout out to Q102. Nugget came through with a couple of different people. Some industry people came out. And it went really well. And again, maybe it was a little bit of luck mixed with playing the right music or doing whatever, but it was a blast. We had such a great time. And I couldn't tell you how euphoric it felt to be like, what I wanted to do was really working right now. Yeah. So whether or not that continues to persist, I'm just putting all my eggs in one basket and trying this and making sure that I'm putting the best effort. But the moment I did that second one, I can't tell you how many like messages I got the next day that were like, this is incredible. When's the next one? Can I DJ it? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we got something. And that was like, it was like they went from, I don't want to give out numbers, but they went from X amount of dollars to like 4 or 5 times that.
Nice.
So now we have kind of a business model with everything. So I probably give you way more information than you probably asked for, but
that's
no,
great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a house music based party. I open and close the event, and then I host what I consider a really great DJ to be the headliner, quote unquote, of the event.
Right.
I don't tell them what they can and can't play. They're welcome to remain and do the same format. But the idea of the party was to play music that you truly love and to be able to be unique and without any type of interruption. Because a lot of places we play, as you probably know, like you have to stay within a certain format where the manager can come up and be like, hey, can you change this? That doesn't happen everywhere that you go. But to know that we get the blessing to be like, just do what you regularly do, you're able to perform at such a higher level because you're like, I don't even care if this doesn't work. I just want to hear it. And sometimes other people love hearing it too. So it's forcing you to take a chance on stuff that you're like, man, I'd never play this out or whatever. But this is stuff I listen to like on the car ride here.
Right. That's the best.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and we're lucky. And the next one's tomorrow. It's with Sat One and Menace Cartel. And the idea that I have both of them together on like a flyer, it's only getting better. I haven't announced the merchandise drop, which is great. I give a giveaway. But I guess I could tell like people here. The next one is Wednesday the 14th is with DJ Montone.
Okay, cool.
Montone's one of the best DJs. And then in July, I think it's the 19th, we're trying to do an outside one. It's with Nine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
I'm
That's really
super
cool.
excited. Like to
That's sick.
have these guys get involved and just be a part of it feels like almost as much euphoria. You know what I mean? It's not just some randoms.
Yeah.
It's these people are both my friends and really great DJs.
Yeah, when you see an idea come to life and succeed, it's just like the best feeling in the world. Even if you have an idea to transition 2 songs and it goes well and people vibe to it,
it feels great.
Oh, that's
they can
awesome.
almost just remember that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
hopefully, knock on wood, that things progress. We'll see. We'll re-talk about this in a year and see how well you know what I mean. It's progressed.
Yeah, come back. We'll invite you
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Let
listen,
us know.
it sounds like
well, maybe you guys can come out and you'll be able to see it, and it'll be a little bit different. But
you said tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, it's tomorrow night. So I've been
That's
posting
excellent.
and promoting it for like God knows how long, and I feel so terrible that I keep pushing it, but. Unless
You
you
have to
remind
do
people,
that.
unless you remind
Yeah.
people 100 times, somebody will be like, when is it?
Mhm.
And the whole point of everything, of doing all of that too, is to essentially ingrain it in everyone's brain where it's like Thursday and they're like, I can't fucking miss it. I have to like, I don't feel like going out, but I have to get dressed. And I think that was the whole reason why we wanted to do it once a month instead of doing it every week. So that way people don't tire
That's
of
smart.
it.
Smart.
Yeah. So that was the whole concept or idea behind it.
Is it what's the times again?
So this upcoming one would be 8 till close.
Okay, cool.
Normally they, 1 o'clock tends to be more of the where things start to wrap up. But the last one I think we went to 1:30. So I know that the demand to go is a little bit later.
Dope.
We're hoping that because it's the holiday weekend, maybe people don't go down the shore. You know what I mean? They stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But having 2 great DJs like them, I'm very
should be a good turnout.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
optimistic of being able to do everything. So I'll open things up, give each one of them a chance. And then they together do their own like duo type of thing. So we're gonna give them like an hour and 15 minutes to just kind of back to back
Awesome.
just to be themselves.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'm hosting an event at Pace tomorrow night actually, but
I'm
we'll
going.
definitely stop by before.
I
'cause
appreciate
they don't
that.
open until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great,
Yeah, it'd be great.
great little
Thank you.
pregame spot.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
the support, man.
Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Hold on, I have to pay.
Oh, all right.
I forgot you could just. I forgot you could just cut things.
Yeah.
Have the wraps if they just use like the quesadilla.
They
like,
go through a lot of weird phases, like it.
like the
some of
pizza.
They still do the burgers
Yeah,
and
some of
fries.
it- I don't know.
Yeah,
I
they
never.
do.
Spaghetti. I think they're doing spaghetti.
they do. They still have
Oh
it.
my
I'm
god!
not
They
eating
You got to
still
be a
have it.
sicko
I've
to get
never
spaghetti
had
from
it.
Wawa.
My
Or
grandmother
the
would
broccoli
fucking have
with
my neck.
chicken.
Yeah.
The broccoli with chicken, no.
I
Absolutely
had
not.
meatball from there one time. It was,
Was it
I
good?
it was. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was like I was like disgusted with myself how much I liked it. 'Cause I
I'm
was like,
disgusted with you that you got
yeah,
it.
that's what I'm saying. I put extra cheese on it while I was
Oh,
just like I'm
yeah.
sitting in the fucking
Yeah.
parking lot in the heat. I'm like, this is the best thing of all time. You know how it
It
is.
was
Like,
not.
yeah. Well, it probably wasn't. It probably just like garbage.
You
You
woke
know.
up the next day like.
I know
"Damn,
you've been
why
to
the
Taco
fuck
Bell
did I
at
eat
3
that?"
o'clock in the morning. You're
Fuck
like, this
yeah.
is the best burrito of all
Yeah,
time. And you
I
know
always
it's
get a
not.
chicken cheese quesadilla. I don't
Yeah.
switch up
Yeah,
ever.
nothing wrong with that.
That's definitely gonna be my question for next week for on the polls on Instagram. What's your favorite like go-to meal or place when you're blacked out?
I think pizza's gonna be probably your winner.
Really? I think
anyone's gonna say-
cheesesteaks might be the
Cheesesteaks
winner.
are
Nah,
good.
yeah, you're right.
What would you say though? Is your favorite like blacked out pizza? Is that your,
I feel like it's demographic mixed with like where I'm at. Like that's where I want to eat. So
Makes
like
sense, yeah.
whatever's in that area, like there's no way you don't go somewhere and you're like, oh, we have that one spot, we have to go there. So whatever
Yeah,
that
yeah.
usually is, it could be Chinese, it could be sushi, it could be
Ooh.
like whatever. But I think,
you would eat sushi like
I was just
Whacked?
gonna say that drunk
Yeah.
sushi.
you don't think you'll get sick?
dude,
Really?
I don't want to tell you the combinations that I get sometimes. And you'll just be like,
Like what?
dude, are you eating sushi and milk? And I'm like, yeah, this is what
Ew.
I want. Yeah. That's why I said
I
don't
love.
wanna
I
say-
actually love milk. I'm
Ew.
I'm a big fan of milk.
my
Yeah.
mom when I like drink a cold glass of milk, she's just like, "How are you drinking that right now?" And she's
Delicious.
like, "She's I want to get it is. It's
Yeah,
it's very
delicious.
good." It's another question.
When I was a kid, I
Do you
only
drink
had
milk. Question.
I only had water and milk as a kid growing up because our doctor. I don't know if my parents were simple enough to be like, okay, nothing else, and that's it.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have water, it was milk. So it was like my other option. Does that make sense? Like I couldn't drink juice because it was sugar. So when I got to school for 4 or 5 years, the only thing I've ever had was milk and water.
Mhm.
So I drank milk a lot because it was like my other option. you
Right,
know?
yeah.
But it was a lot of people were like, I was
See,
like,
I
don't
think
know.
that's funny because that's also how I grew up, just
Mm.
milk and water.
Maybe it's just
But now that I don't know, I'll never just drink like a glass of milk unless I'm eating like a cake. or
you
a
should probably
brownie.
push through this conversation if you don't want to hear it. We continue on with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, KB, let's get into the Instagram
The
polls.
polls.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is your best hangover cure?
I think it's everyone's, which is liquid IV. That's like the number. Someone put me onto it, and I was not really. I was like, I'm not drinking this. And then I had one, and I was like, this is. And then I was like, okay, I feel better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's kind of how it was.
I never done it.
Really?
I was just skeptical. Yeah, I just somebody had was like it was a DJ that was like I got crushed last night, and like it was like a part of his routine. He was just like he woke up and was like. You know what I mean? And just like, yeah.
Huh.
And then you started seeing, I think I was skeptical because I was seeing like the other people like promoting it. You know what I mean? Like it was like people I know. I'm like, they're probably getting paid. But don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. I think just more or less that's how I felt about it. And then I bought a pack out of curiosity, and I had one, and it was like, I was like, damn man, I gotta keep two of them in your backpack, and they're just like wherever you go, you'll be appreciative you have it. But the real hangover cure that like a DJ told me probably like a decade ago, 2 Excedrin bottle of water before you go to sleep. And you wake up no hangover.
Wow. I thought you were going to say keep drinking.
No. No.
People will say that, yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's what my advice was going to say. Just keep drinking.
Yeah. No, it's not my advice.
But
I would not.
We got, Liquid IV. That is the specific brand you use, or do you use like an off?
I'll tell you what, if there's another one that works better, I'll be willing to try it. It's just the one that I got kind of pushed on. Maybe branding is
Don't they do one in like Wildwood or down the shore or something?
Probably.
It's like a truck, I think. They like
I wouldn't be
deliver
surprised.
it to you. I think something
really?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I know nurses that were like, they would tell me they do actual liquid IV.
Like
they would,
bag,
drip. I think
Yeah.
they call it drip.
Right, yeah.
I've never done it personally, but they said it's especially if they
What's the one I was trying to think of? What, Water Boy?
Cool.
It's like no sugar, right?
I'll try it. The last time I used one, like a liquid IV, the packaging looked like it had been through war.
Yeah.
So I'm not drinking it regularly, but I will definitely try Water Boy is what it's
Water
called.
Boy.
That's pretty funny.
But
yeah.
Water Boy was my my nickname in high school basketball
Really?
because my shot was so wet.
I said why? Because you didn't play.
That's fucked up, KP. It's fucked up, all right?
We both fell for it.
I sat in the corner. And, maybe
I used to play basketball in middle school, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't good. I didn't play, but.
Were you in any sports growing up?
Yeah, golf was really big for me.
Golf?
Really?
I want to get into it. I'm horrible.
When I was a kid, we're going to get in the same thing we did in the other podcast, but we had like a little bit of local, like I remember I could like as a kid there, like I have like pictures and videos and everything. I made it to the paper when I was like 4 because I played golf fairly well. Yeah, I was hitting the ball like
Fuck it up,
buck 50.
Did your parents play golf?
My dad did. So
Oh,
like he worked at a golf course just because he liked playing golf, and then brought me, and then I played regularly, and then started competing and doing all that stuff. When I was like 4 or 5, I got invited to Jay Leno. I got invited to Lisa.
Oh my god!
Wait,
Remember the name of it? Yeah, I told you. This is if you go to Tonka's podcast, we'll go a little bit more like in depth. But like it was really well known like leading into it that I was gonna play golf at some point. It's not as cool as it is now. Like you know how they have like different like people are like freaking out and like people are getting dressed up to go. It was like what Happy Gilmore felt like, where if somebody would stand out, like it would almost be like frowned upon.
Right.
And it just wasn't fun. Like the same way when we were watching football or basketball, people were cheering. It was exciting, and I think when we were playing golf, it just felt like more leisure. And I think if I had grown up in more of an atmosphere of what's going on today, I probably would have been more inclined to want to do it. But I just remember at a certain point, I was like 10 or 12, just being like, man, I just really like, I like playing it because I'm decent at it. But it was just boring to, most of the people that played weren't my age. Everybody was, like an older person.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think just at the time I was like 10, 12, I wanted to be around more kids my age. And at that time we were playing like football and basketball but nothing, I was never as good as anything as I was like playing golf. So
yeah. We might have to go to driving range and teach me a few things.
yeah, let's have fun.
I'm horrible.
I've
been to Top Golf a few times.
I love telling people I've never played and then hitting the ball.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's like that. So
hustle them.
Yeah.
I'm as average. I'm right in between everything. I don't play as often as I probably should or could have, but it's just it's a fun leisure. It's fun now to like do with like people that you work with or like friends or whatever it might be. It's like people want me to come, so it's a lot of fun. I know they're using me for the skill set, but at the same time, it's nice to get invited constantly to different places. So
Back to the Instagram.
Oh,
poll.
yeah, back
we got
to-
so sidetracked.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
we
I'm
always
sorry.
do.
I'm no good at.
We went
like,
from
helping
liquid
you.
IV to
golf.
Playing golf.
being
yeah.
on the
I
Leno.
tried not to go into it. I told you.
No, that's
Giving
awesome. though.
Tiger Woods. Okay, so yeah, liquid IV. People said liquid IV. Take vitamin B6 and B12 before you go out.
I heard that too. Yeah, I
Really?
did hear that. I don't
What
know
is
how
that,
well that
energy?
works. I think it's just more or less a setting. I don't. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to
Yeah,
claim to
I
be.
have no idea.
I just from my understanding, they told me that it kind of prepares your body. Like it, I don't know if it oversets it or just knows that you're going to be putting something into it or deflects out like whatever it is. But I've never tried it personally.
Dr.
me
Kurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't
Take
yeah,
notes.
don't again. Please don't take my
Man
advice.
of man of many trades.
Yeah.
Okay. Life advice and questions. What is your guys' favorite shore point to drink at?
Deauville. That was pretty
Yeah.
easy. I mean, I know it's probably biased because of the fact that I'm like DJing there, but they're allowing me to play the music that I want to play. They're the general manager at the time. I don't know if it's the same guy. His name's Adam. Really nice dude. Used to be one of the general managers in Las Vegas at Hakkasan. So a lot of the stuff that we were playing, he was like, it aligns a lot more with what I like. So, having that like kind of go ahead, like, yeah, go do your thing.
Yeah.
Was great. Highly recommend checking that place out if you like a day party. It feels a lot different than just going to a pool or whatever. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
But at the same time, I think
It's
personally
different, yeah.
it's a wonderful place. You can literally ride your jet ski, boat, right
that's
up
dope.
to it.
Yeah,
You can get
that's
food
cool.
on part of the beach, or you can go inside the restaurant, or you can come back where it's like more of a party atmosphere. So I think they're the most versatile. It's in a really great neighborhood, a lot of great people, and the drinks are really. I mean, you're always gonna say that like the drinks are great wherever it is that you go, but they have an orange crush. It's just
I
absolutely.
love
Orange
Orange Crush.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like the party's 3 or 4 hours, so it's like just enough to where like you almost feel like you want to keep going. Like there's an afters, but it's in the middle of the day,
Mhm.
and you're down the shore, so you can go almost anywhere that you really
Yeah.
want to. So
Yeah, right.
highly recommend if you're doing anything this weekend. I'll be there Saturday. Smooth will be there on Sunday.
Where's that
I
exactly?
was just about to say.
I'll be there both days. So I'm DJing on Saturday. It's in
Okay.
Strathmere. It's right next
Strathmere,
to
okay,
it's right next
gotcha.
to Ocean City.
Mhm.
So you can go right over the bridge if you're in Ocean City by 56th or 7th Street, like at the end. Yeah, at the end, you come right over the bridge. It's literally right there. But if you dip into the water, you can literally get there from your boat or your jet
That's
ski
awesome.
or wave
Yeah,
runner.
I was
that's
just
cool.
about to ask if they still do like their Sunday fun day. I
And
know
that's what it is. Yeah.
everybody always goes.
It got so good on Sunday, they're doing it on Saturday now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's yeah.
They
Yeah,
moved it.
I know that was like the spot to be at last year, like down by my way, because
Yeah.
I live out there.
I did the
Yeah.
first one that they had ever did. I got lucky. Smooth put me in there, but it went off real. We knew that we wanted to make sure that we really hit the ground running with it.
Mhm.
And he told me it was the same thing like with the pool party. Like some people were like, "What the heck is this?" The word got out. Next one that they did, just
Yeah, it popped
skyrocketed. Like
off,
300
yeah.
people show up. So
Yeah.
especially with it being the holiday, I wouldn't be surprised if again, knock on wood, if it continues to progress, that people want to come out. But I think that was the issue that we had previously. Was just more or less is like they don't they're a family restaurant, they don't want to get too
Right,
crazy about
yeah.
everything. So as long as everyone can kind of be an adult about everything, we're
Mhm.
pretty good. So we try not to rile people up too much. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard. You get excited. You know what I mean? You're having a good time. You're outside. It's the holiday weekend. You're drunk at 4 o'clock in the
What's
afternoon.
the crowd like? Like, is it?
So I would say probably 21 to about 35.
Yeah.
It's like what I tend to do. But there's always like someone's father there, which just makes it so much better because
Yeah.
like someone's dad who like is clearly like a fan favorite. Like he's just like dancing out there and like like somebody will be surrounding him and he starts taking his shirt off or like wearing a funny hat or doing whatever. There's always like someone. And I think I love that dynamic about it because it's like I don't think it really pushes any one person out.
Mhm.
It feels very welcoming that anybody can come up and like
Yeah.
enjoy the kind
And
of their
it's
time.
cool because Ocean City's a dry town, so
Yeah.
like that's at the end.
It's right at the end. Yeah, it's
Very
perfect.
true.
I don't
Yeah.
know if we thought about that, but that was definitely
Yeah.
it. Definitely ends
I
up
always
playing a
think
part.
Ocean City's a dry town. Like
Yeah.
you can't drink there, so it's cool that it's right at the end. Everybody just kind of migrates that way.
Yep. Yeah.
Where do
So-
you like going, KP? Besides the pool. Don't be biased.
Yeah, I'm always at the pool. No, I'm just kidding. It's because I get paid there. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, I'm just always down in Atlantic City, like wherever the wind takes me. I'm kind
Yeah.
of just there. I don't know. I don't really go out too much.
Because you're always working on the weekends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
that makes
Thank
sense.
I
you.
know
Yeah.
how that feels. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of wherever the wind takes me, I kind of just end up there.
But AC, it would be your
Mostly
sure
because it's
point,
right
yeah.
by home. Like it's easy to get home when I
Makes
gotta
sense.
get
Yeah,
there, you know?
I still haven't really experienced too much like down the shore bars because I started DJing when I was 20, And then when I turned 21, I was getting all the the slow gigs in Philly in the summer. So
We've all gone through it.
yeah. But yeah, I still haven't like really experienced too much. Besides, I've done the Pool After Dark and AC and like
That's awesome.
a few different AC spots. Kiss.
Pool After Dark.
Shout out the pool. Shout out Frank, giving me my first AC gig.
Yeah, we love Frank.
And then I know Weiss, he was on our first episode. He's opening up. There's 3 spots in Wildwood. That should be pretty cool.
They're doing a lot of like they're truly, in my opinion, and shout out to Weiss if he's the one that's like really making it happen. But the people that work behind it are truly trying to make an impact in that community.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to be a part of it. And hopefully they're everything goes off really well, which I doubt highly that they won't succeed. You know what I mean? New places in Wildwood, down the shore, everything's they're
I feel
gonna
like Wildwood always pops off.
Down the shore around here, the Jersey Shore is just like so awesome. It's crazy that like people that live like in other parts of the country don't have something.
They
like
don't,
that, really.
and you forget that. You know what I mean? It's we're very blessed to be just locally here because you can kind of feel both. You can get city vibe, and you can also get the shore vibe if you want to.
Yeah.
So
you used to do somewhere in Sea Isle, right?
I did for 7 years. The party at the time was called What the Buck. I think it's tomorrow.
Thursdays, right?
Yeah. I'm unfortunately no longer doing it, but that is, necessarily whatever it is. Some people outgrow the position or whatever it might be. But I mean, that bar, those people.
Where's that?
Watch me go. It's in Sea Isle.
Oh, it's called What the Buck.
I heard.
No. It's called Shenanigans. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But the event that we threw, or they still throw, I should say, everything's $1. So
yeah, okay.
that's
what I was saying earlier.
So parties were crazy there, man. I mean, like every single
I remember
Thursday.
seeing your stories all the time.
Oh, dude. I mean, it doesn't matter what Thursday. It just, you know what I mean? It's just absolute chaos. People get blacked out. Like, it's just, it was wild to see some of the stuff that, like, was going on during the time.
Yeah.
But I did nothing but fuel that fire. You know what I mean? Encourage people to act out appropriately. And, we used to bring smoke guns. We used to bring confetti. Like, just, like, try and really create an atmosphere. And I think it was doing really well. And, just time kind of passed on, and I got an opportunity to do with Wildwood and everything. So,
awesome.
I think some things just change, and I wish nothing but the best for them. They were, just incredible people. They, again, took me under their wing, and I loved being there. So.
Yeah, I mean, even being somewhere for 7 years, like that's a long time to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 3 years would be a long time to be
1
somewhere
year.
consistent.
I'm sorry.
Really
Maybe my math is terrible, but I started in late or mid 2017. So 17, 18, 19, 2020 count. 21 and this 22. So yeah, I think it would have been 8. I think so. Whatever. Yeah.
When it was dollar everything.
Yeah.
I watched somebody
was there.
next to me buy 50 shots.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and I was like, I couldn't even name.
Imagine buying 50 shots in Philly on like a regular night. How much would that be? Like,
with the average shot probably being like $12 a shot. Who knows? Yeah, I don't want to do the math.
Bad at math again.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try that. Yeah, you might as well just buy a bottle.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, definitely. Center City prices are outrageous.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I don't. The same thing when you're at work. Like, I don't see any of that stuff. I'm paying to get. I get paid to get there, but that could work against you too. Like, if you're drinking and you're running up $150 bar tab, you're gonna be like, man, if I have this guy here, I got to pay him X amount of dollars, and then I got to make sure that he drinks, and then I got to hope that he performs well. Yeah, so
that's a good point.
Those are kind of the things that you have to kind of think about outside of just DJing. That especially as you get older, they look at you like, hey man, aren't you 30? It just is what it is.
2 questions for you.
Go ahead.
What is the craziest, like most fun experience you have had DJing? Also, what is the weirdest experience or like venue event that you have had to do? Or
I'll give you not the bad one, but the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. When 2012, I used to DJ at this local bar, actually not too far from where I live at. It was like the local bar kind of to go to, and I only have been DJing for like 3 or 4 years at this time, so it wasn't like something I was super crazy about, but at the same time, it was like I wasn't unhappy about being there on a weekend. So these local guys would come in, and that was, in my opinion, the most unattractive part about it. It wasn't really people that like, like there are some people that drink at local bars, and there are some people that go out. And, I think I fit in more with the industry type of crowd. So these guys came in, and at the time, like house music was really big. As when like Steve Aoki was like, I mean, not to say he's not popping, but this is like when he came out, and people were like, oh my God, Steve Aoki.
Fuck, yeah.
So I remember Turbulence was like super popular, and this guy was hammering me like to be like play Turbulence. I'm like, dude, there's as many people in this room right now as me and you, and I don't want to play Turbulent. Like, you know what I mean?
So that's not the
It's
vibe
just
for
not
that.
it.
So anyway, I was like, maybe if it gets a little bit crazier at night, I can kind of slip it in and like it'll go unnoticed or whatever. But I mean, dude, there might have been 10 people in this bar, and as he got worse, he like kept demanding it. So like every 30 minutes, he'd be like, "You got me on Turbulence," to where it kind of came like a joke. And like at some point, I was like, I'm gonna fucking play it, right? So it was like 12:35 or 1 o'clock when you would probably play something like that anyway. And I played it, and I couldn't have made a bigger mistake by doing so because I thought he was going to go nuts, and he absolutely did. But the problem is that he knew all the bartenders, so he felt a lot more comfortable than you probably would in your average bar.
Yeah.
Again, super disgusting, but stood on a bar stool, like a genuine bar stool. I remember he had I don't want to say I have a picture of it, but I remember seeing a picture of it. He had a rain jacket on, not like a weird rain jacket, like a Nike one or something, whatever. I mean, pants down, standing on the bar stool, like tucked this, what's it called in? And was just the drop went going, and he was like,
We
and
Turbulence.
I had never laughed so hard in my life because I was like, I just expected him to be like, my song's on.
Yeah.
This
fuck it
dude
up.
went balls to the wall. He was like, he played it
Literally,
like, yeah. I
literally.
was like, oh my god, I thought I was gonna get fired, honestly.
He asked you to, though.
Yeah, but
Like,
like
he really wanted you to
dude,
play
genuinely,
that.
I think he was just that drunk. He was like, I'm gonna get kicked out anyway.
Oh
So
my
that's what it was. But I just ingrained into my mind because I was like, oh my god, and the owner was like, yo, cut it, like blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
it was even funnier because not only was he dancing to it, but then the music stopped, and then he was just like ding out, and, like, and then it was just like even more awkward.
This
At
guy
that
just
So
point.
have you
swinging his
ever
dick
played
out and
Turbulence before?
empty
or
bar.
After that?
Yeah, but I think of that every time I play Turbulence, which is
Oh,
funny.
you
So-
still play it?
I mean, it's like it's not like something I would play the full song. It's probably like we have what we call quick edits.
Uh-huh.
So like you'd get the drop once, and you'd be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I remember that song." And then
Yeah,
I'm out of it by
yeah.
that
You're
time.
like,
Yeah,
holy
that's
shit,
it.
this
Yeah, I'm
project
not playing the
was
full
That
out.
song.
shit drops hard.
It does. If you have forgotten about it, for sure. There's a lot of times I play a lot of Steve Aoki that like I'm not too like I'm just playing just that or something like that. It's more
Mhm.
updated. But I would certainly say like I wouldn't shy away from it if somebody was like, "Let's play." Nobody even really requests it, to be honest
Right.
with you.
Yeah, that's true.
What was the other question? I'm sorry, I got dove pretty deep.
What's your
into that.
craziest, like, most fun experience you've had DJing?
Again, this is a little. I wouldn't say it's fun. It's just the one I think about. I had in 2012. Again, I don't know what happened that year. I was working at Xfinity Live when they had just opened up. I think they were open for like a year, and it was Christmas. It was like if it was a Saturday night, December 23rd was like the night to obviously go out for Christmas. And I can't remember if it's just because the times have changed, but I remember there's this band. I will go unnamed with the band because I don't want them to think I was crazy. But I remember I did like somewhat similar to what I'm doing today. It's like I have one event, I got this in between, I got to do this.
Yeah.
So I just did not have time to eat. And I remember being like just so hungry. I was like, hey, can I order something to eat? Like I had gotten set up and this, that, and the third. And I get set up. We go through everything. And the band goes like, hey, listen, they're dressed like elves and Santa. just to give like a little bit of context. I'm dressed normal, like just t-shirt and jeans.
I'd hope so.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, listen, if you go like in the back, we have this like plate of like cookies and everything. You're welcome to like take whatever you want. And again, at this time, I'm 21, 22. I don't really do drugs or do anything like that. I'm sure you can see where this is leading. I remember they had like, do you ever see those sugar cookies, like the ones that are made by Tasty Cake? They look like they're in a box.
Oh,
I could eat 100 of
Yeah.
them. So
Mhm.
I was just starving. I remember 1, 2. I was eating the third one, and the guy was like, "How many of them did you eat?" But listen, because of the fact that I didn't do like any drugs at the time, I thought he was being stingy. But like I was like, "Dog, you just invited me to eat this
Right.
food." So he just I remember him saying like they're not normal cookies, and I remember that being like oh my god, I didn't eat anything, I can't drink anything to like get rid of it, and I was like, I guess I'm along for the fucking ride. So I'm Xfinity in Victory Beer Hall at the time, and I ate and like I actually forgot about it. Like I was like, all right, maybe I'm like good, and the gentleman at the other bar was like, hey, I'm having some trouble with the lights or whatever it might be. So I walked over. It was like after my first set. The band goes on. I go check it out. We get like things weren't working. It's like just how the lights are in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember specifically like we hit one button, all the lights turned off, and then the disco lights and everything turned in. And dog, when I say like a wave, I mean like a tsunami had crushed me. So I'm freaking out mentally because I'm like, I've never been this stoned ever in my life before, and now I have to go play music like on Christmas Eve night.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, it could have been like the equivalent of like what Jordan Belfort was. Remember when he felt like he drove through everything and like everything was busted up or broken?
That scene's so good.
But I remember specifically being behind the DJ booth and like I was playing music, and it just felt like I was in Wells Fargo Center. Like I was like, there were 20 people in front of me, and I was just like, I was going ham, dude. Like I was like the guy that was standing on the thing. I was just like going absolutely berserk. And I remember like the general manager came up to me and was like, "Are you good? Like everything good?" He's like, "Dude, you're having a blast right now." And I just remember laughing. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just like excited. It's Christmas. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like trying to play it off, dude." And I remember I broke down and like I just went home and was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like,
Did
you know,
play
what I mean?
Turbulence? Did you play Turbulence?
It was around that time. I wouldn't be. I know I played Bingo Players Rattle. I don't know if you know that.
Oh,
yeah, I know you know that one. Yeah, but I remember playing that one. It was like a Christmas tone player or whatever it might have been. But that was, you know, that again. Making mistakes, being a kid, kind of at that time.
Yeah.
So we're talking over a decade ago at this point, but it was probably horrible to begin with. But to think, I remember people were enjoying themselves, so I know that. But again, it could have been just like they were like, "Boo!" Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, they love me. Yeah, they love me. Yeah, I don't know. So if you're having a terrible day, that would be my suggestion. Eat a couple cookies and enjoy your life.
Helps.
You know.
That's so fucked up. They didn't even tell you that though. Like,
I don't
like,
think they. I think that they
test.
then that was you're right because like I think, but to be honest with you, I really didn't even think twice about it either. They probably were like, he knows.
Yeah.
And then like I was just like boom boom, and I was like that tastes weird, but like you know I'm not really thinking. I'm like I'm not gonna be rude to anybody, and
I'm
that's just
starving. At this
yeah
point.
yeah. I was just like whatever, and you know who hasn't tried one after that? But
That's
that was like my
hilarious,
first experience.
Yeah.
So like I think I was scared to death, and that might have played like small part, but like I had forgotten about it, so I was eased into it. But that was it was funny.
Yeah.
But
That
since
is
then,
funny.
I don't take anything that.
That's
No.
hilarious. Yeah, that's so funny. I know you said you like house music, but do you have any like guilty pleasure songs that like nobody would think that you like, but that
I
you do?
think, and it's probably, I think a part of it plays because of the fact that they work. A lot of the '80s music is really working. For me, at least right now, I play like more houseier, like background, like tech house edits of older songs. We were like, if you played at a place in Boston, we were playing the YMCA for like. And like we laugh at it, we think it's funny. I think we've gotten away from it at this time, but I honestly were like, I remember the reactions of people when they were doing it, and even though it's like funny, it's corny, it's whatever. I think those are one of the things that I feel like, you know, Gimme Gimme is at this point like probably one of the more popular options. So I think just like when I put into my sets, I try and keep that information, you know, viable. Even though I think a lot of people might be like, ugh. I think when people are drinking 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, they're just like, I don't care. I'll sing.
They're gonna throw their fucking hands up.
They're gonna be like, I'll sing. I Will Survive. I don't care. So,
yeah.
Those are like I think
That's
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, and don't get me wrong, like you know, with today's day and age, and especially with everybody going through the things that they go through, some people are experiencing like trauma, or their boyfriend's not working out, and they hear like, you know, before he cheats, and they're like, oh my god, you know, and then
I always play
that. Yeah, and
every gig I play that.
yeah, and you know, Jersey Club to it or something, and people just you know, I think it's a little bit of emotion, the things that we've been dealing with the last couple of years, that I've noticed that the sing along specifically have really been, you know, really been put into
house edits to them.
Yeah, I mean that's one that like I feel like I have never not played, but it's also at the same time, even me, I'm like, man, I don't want to play this.
That shit.
Yeah.
Any woman in the room is gonna feel like
there's so many like that. Living on a Prayer. That
it's I think for sure that everyone has their quote unquote guilty pleasure, but like I think you can really stem outside of the box.
Right.
The one that I know that I play a lot is Don't You Want Me. I'm sure you ever Don't You Want Me, babe? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm not gonna sing on the podcast.
Feel free.
But fine. Like I said, I think that people are, you know, they're seeing the plays, they're seeing like, and you have more producers making that type of music. So for me personally, those are the songs that I really like to play, but I'm like, you know what I mean? I like,
work?
But I play it at full volume, like it's gonna work. But like, so, you know, I would say it's 75-25. It's like people are like too drunk to like really care, and I think people who have heard it and heard me play it 20 times are probably like, oh my god, here we
I
go
hate
again.
this fucking song.
Yeah, exactly. So and
Cut
you gotta
it
keep
short.
you gotta keep the staff like, kind of, and that's
Yeah.
I'll switch it up a lot. I'll only let it drop once, or like I'm not gonna run through YMC again. They're like, again? Like, you know what I mean? We're not gonna do it again. So
Arms are tired.
yeah.
Right.
It's just enough. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I'll play things just to see if people are paying attention. You know what I mean? Like there are certain times I'll play something that I'm like, I'm not getting a reaction out of anyone in the room.
Yeah.
And I'll just play something that just does not make sense. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, good. Now I have your
Yeah,
attention.
and then
Like,
you
know what
switch
I
to
mean?
something that like
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're ever gonna do something like that, I would definitely like JJ's is famous for this. They're nuts about Cotton Eye Joe. I don't know why.
Really?
Really? I would never play that normally, but like I get a text from Nicole, who's one of the general. She's like, please play Cotton Eye Joe. I'm like, all right, cool. And I play Boy's a Liar because it's like right there. I'm like, if I just go right into Ice Spice, it's almost like I'll get forgiven. They're like, okay, well, he's not stupid. Like, you know what I mean? But again, I'm not like regularly playing something like that. That's just like a weird coincidence that I happen to do that. But that's good information to have. Like if you know that
100%.
you have to play something that you're like, I don't like this, follow it up with something that's gonna really hit the room. Yeah, that's So
yeah, it makes
I feel
sense.
like that's universal. But
What do you got this weekend coming up? I think did you say it earlier?
I did. I don't think I can talk about
Well,
it. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. You can't talk about it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's again, still worst case scenario, I get to enjoy Memorial Day weekend with everybody. But for sure, like I said, poor decisions tomorrow. Friday I'm going to be at Winston on the Water. Saturday I'll be at Deauville, which is going to be sponsored by Q102, and I think Surfside, if I'm correct, which is awesome to be able to work with them too.
Yeah.
And then at nighttime, it's up in the air. We'll see what happens. So
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Kurt. We
thanks
really
for having me,
appreciate
dude.
it.
This was a lot of fun.
This is an
Yeah.
awesome
It was fun.
conversation. Definitely want to have you on again, like
Cool.
a few months or something. We can
When you get to announce
recap
everything.
poor decisions.
Yeah, that'd be
Want you
cool.
Back on.
Yeah, well, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having me,
yeah.
everybody.
And next guest will be announced in a few weeks, few days. I'm sorry, not a few weeks. And we'll see you guys next week.
We will.
That's it. Goodbye.